Well, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Quality Matters Daily Dive. I have to say, probably should say this is the mostly daily dive. Having a little bit of hard time working it into the schedule, but that actually has a lot to do with the topic that we're addressing today. And what we're talking about today is planning. Plan your day or it will ruin your plans. So we've all talked about to-do list and boards and all these different things. There's 1,000 tools out there, and Lord knows you can get sucked into an infinite trail of rabbit holes when it comes to productivity planning softwares and apps out there. Personally, for myself, for my daily task list, I get a literal daily to-do list. We'll talk about that a bit. But for those you first starting with really aggressively and actively planning your day, you're going to go, Kyle, there's so much stuff that needs to be done. I have no idea where to begin. So I was in this position about 10 years ago, and I just did not know how to manage my time at all. I was constantly falling behind. I was ready to get fired from my job because I just couldn't get the job done because I couldn't figure out how to put first things first. It sounds so obvious, but it's so stinking difficult. So we're going to talk a little bit about quadrant planning. This is not something I came up with, but really, really fantastic stuff. Then we're going to talk about doing your daily to-do list. These two things are wonderful. So let's start. I'm going to throw something up here on the screen. So this is our daily to-do list. Sorry, not a daily to-do list. This is our quadrant planning, okay? So if we're going to talk about quadrant planning, what that means is I want you to make a list of every dadgum thing you know that needs to be done. I'm talking about big things. I'm talking about little things. I'm talking about big projects, small tasks, whatever it is. You name it, put it down on a sheet of paper. If you're new to this, you're a little stressed out, busy, scatterbrained, honestly, I'm going to tell you to take 30, 45 minutes a day to do this for the next couple of weeks to get yourself in the habit of thinking in a certain manner. And that's key. That is critical. We have to think in the right manner. So what we're going to do here is we're going to identify if these tasks are quadrant 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now, this sounds like an arbitrary intellectual exercise. I promise you it's not. I hate those things. This is truly useful. So what we're going to do is we're going to identify one of two things about every task. Is it urgent? Meaning, does it need done immediately? Does it need done today? Okay. Is it urgent? And is it important? So this is really not all that different from when we talk about risk assessments, right? How bad is the problem if it occurs? How easy is it to detect? These type of things. So we're using that same skill set for planning our day. We're effectively doing a risk assessment. Hey, this task, if I don't work on it today, how bad are things going to be? Okay, so what we find is we want to work on what we call our urgent, right? So we've got urgent and we've got important. We want to work on those first. Urgent and important is first. Okay, so that means it needs done immediately, and there's a big reward if we get it done, or, I say big reward. It's going to be good for us to get this done immediately. Maybe this is a critical project for your boss or for a customer or whatever the case may be, right? So then we're going to take a look at things that are important but not urgent. So important but not urgent might be that monthly report you put out, and it's the start of the month. It's super important. I know I got to get it done, but it's not an issue today. So we then fall into another category over here of important but not urgent. Okay. Then we've got quadrant 3. It is urgent but not important. So what we're going to do there is we're going to go ahead and put this one as a red, because you know what? I don't really want to have to work on that at the moment. These are the ones that are going to kill your time. They're going to zap your productivity from you. This is the email, right? The email probably could use a quick response, but it's not terribly important. This is the guy knocking on your door. Hey, got a minute? Yeah, I get it. You want to talk right now, but how vital is it? This is the phone call that I kind of need to answer, but I don't really, it's not all that important. So I argue, and I tell my folks this here at Texas Quality Assurance, is like, you really should only be opening up your Outlook like 3 times a day. Like, open it in the morning, Open it before, maybe after lunch, depending on your temperament and how and when you take lunch, and then open it up at the end of the day. You open up at the start of the day to populate your to-do list. You open up at lunch, just make sure you didn't miss anything, keep the to-do list updated, and at the end of the day, to respond to anything that needs done that's urgent but not terribly important, right? And so we're going to take a look at that. Then we've got this last category over here, and I'm going to give this a big black box, big black circle, because we're just not going to worry about them. These are the tasks we just say, it didn't get done. Sorry. It was neither urgent nor was it important, so I just didn't do it. All right. So what I suggest is you go through and you list all of your tasks, okay? And you can do this. I suggest doing it on pen and paper because I'm a pen and paper type guy, right? So pen and paper to me is the best way to go about it. But we could do Excel, and I'm going to pull it up here on Excel just simply because I can make the columns a little bit better, and you don't have to suffer through my really horrible, atrocious handwriting. That is, if Excel will ever open up for me here. I might have a few too many apps running in the background, and it's probably way past time for me to do an upgrade on the computer here. But we're going to try anyways. So here's what I would do is I would say list all of your tasks. So task 1, task 2, right? Feed dog. If you're like me, feed horses, feed chickens. We got all sorts of animals out there. Okay, so we got all of our tasks here. Just for fun's sake, we'll copy that down a little bit. So same, these are all different tasks. Then what I tell you to do is you're going to put urgent and you're going to put important on a little column beside it. And you're going to mark, is this urgent? Does this need done today? And is it important? So I would argue for feeding my animals that they are both urgent and important. They simply have to get done today. Period. No ifs, buts about it. It's on my to-do list every day. On the other hand, there are other tasks that might not be on there. But then what you're going to do is you're going to identify these as urgent or important. And what you're going to do then is you're going to go back here to our quadrants. You're going to attack quadrant 1 activities first. Then we're going to take a look at quadrant 2 activities. And then we'll come down to quadrant 3 activities. And the reason they're being is that these quadrant 3 activities, if they're not important, if they're not going to give us a large impact in our day, doesn't mean we skip them. It means we work on more important things first, or at least we identify a proper time and place for our quadrant 2 activities. Since it's not urgent, it may be you say, you know what, I can handle these quadrant 2 activities on Friday next week. Fantastic. Move on. And then you can get down to the quadrant 3 activities. And again, quadrant 4, probably not going to worry about. Unfortunately, most of us that are stressed out spend so much of our time right here or right here. But here's the funny thing. These over here, quadrant 3s, that's where a lot of the magic in our business and our lives happen is that's where a lot of the high value stuff is. And we really need to make sure that we take time to plan for it. Okay. So once you've gotten into this mindset and you're used to, and you're accustomed to thinking about what's most important for today, what needs done today, whether for urgency or importance sake, then my recommendation is you start creating a daily to-do list. And I mean, literal daily to-do list. I rewrite this for myself every single day and have for most days for, 8-9 years now. And the thing is each day as you go through, you're not always sure which one of those are quadrant 4 activities sometimes. It's not important. You think it is today. So you put it on your to-do list. But man, we've not done this for 3 or 4 days in a row. For 3 or 4 days, I have recopied it to the next page, recopied to the next page, recopied to the next page. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, does it really matter if I get it done? Like, really does matter. And I'll give you an example. So I've got some changes I need to make to the website for SEO, for some meta tags on it. And the truth is, it's going to take me a lot of time to go through and rebuild all the meta tags on the website. Okay, it needs done. But we're getting pretty good results right now. So the importance level is not super high there. It doesn't need done anytime soon. So you know what? Tomorrow when I make my to-do list, I'm just not going to put the task on there because I know I'm not going to do it. I don't see it as urgent. I don't see it as important. Move on. But I do recommend that you rewrite your task list daily. So it does a few things for you. One, it ensures that you keep everything fresh in your mind. It forces you to review, what did I work on yesterday that I'm forgetting about today? If you're like me, you tend to jump onto LinkedIn and news feeds and different things in the morning, trying to get a feel for where things are for the day. And you might forget some of those great ideas you had on the drive into work or in the shower that morning. So reviewing and rewriting the daily task list is absolutely, absolutely huge. So really simple, basic things, but when done properly and executed well, are going to work out fantastic for you. So that's all I've got for the daily dive today. And hopefully, if I am doing a better job listening to my own advice, we'll be getting these out more frequently for you. Y'all take care and have a great day.